Hey, what's up everybody? PCJ back. Thanks so much for checking out the video today. Well, on this video, I am going to be announcing the winner of the PCJ Q&A giveaway, where you had the opportunity to win a Funko Pop 2-pack Hot Topic exclusive of the Young Bucks from the Bullet Club. New Japan Pro Wrestling Pops just came out, right? We got the Young Buck one there, that's part of the giveaway. I want to share with you real quick. I just recently unboxed my Pro Wrestling loot, and this was inside. Had the American Nightmare Cody, and I just happened to come across the Kenny Omega one at a store the other day, so now I have the full set here. I do have a 2-pack of the Young Buck one myself, and I have a second one here that I'm going to be giving away as part of this Q&A contest. Now, if you are not familiar with the contest, all you had to do to enter was be a subscriber to the channel, post a wrestling-themed comment on the video. Okay, I announced on a video about a month and a half ago about the contest, where I asked everyone to leave a comment and make it a wrestling themed one. So this is going to be a wrestling Q&A. It could be about anything from mainstream wrestling to old school to wrestlers in general. Who knows? I don't know all the questions off the top of my head right now. I've browsed through them briefly, but I'm doing this on the fly, so there's no rehearsal here at all. But we're going to go ahead and get to the Q&A part first. I have all the names for everyone that entered in my little Hulk Hogan lunch pail here. You can hear them rattling around. So we're going to do the Q&A first, and then I'll do a raffle, and the winner, if your name is drawn, you will be the winner of the contest, and you will get this Hot Topic exclusive Young Bucks 2-pack Funko Pop. Just if you're the winner, you need to get in touch with me somehow. I'm going to, of course, comment, or I'll reply to your question on the first video. But if you're the winner, get in touch with me. My email address is in the description of the video, so just send me an email so I can know where to ship this to. Let's go ahead and get to the actual reason everyone is here. Here, my Q&A. So let's get to the Q&A, and let's see what kind of questions everyone sent in. I think everyone out there, okay, by the way, thank you as always for being a part of the contest, for participating. I appreciate it. And thank you for subscribing. Keep in mind, I do multiple contests, so if you're not the winner this time, don't fret, okay? There will be another contest. We're coming upon my favorite time of the year, October, November, December. I always have lots of contests during that time, so make sure you check out all the other giveaways and contest announcements I'll be dropping very soon. Alright, so I'm just going to go by the order that is on this screen in front of me here, so these are not in any kind of order that I arranged them in. So let's go one by one here, let's see. Skullring666 asks, how do you feel about a women's tag team division? And I think he's talking about the WWE doing that, right? Because there's been a lot of stuff right now with Sasha and Bayley. They're trying to get them back together as, you know, the best friends. And there's rumors that they're going to do a WWE women's tag title again. If a lot of people don't know, they had a tag title for the women back in the 80s. One of my favorite tag teams of all time, Jumping Bomb Angels. They were amazing. I love that tag team. I think it's a good idea in the sense that I think if they do it, they need one women's tag belt, and I think they need to get rid of either the SmackDown or the Raw women's title and just have the one single women's title. That's it. Have one women's title and have one women's tag title, and that's it. And let them be defended on both shows, Raw and SmackDown, okay? The whole brand split thing, as much as they were like, let's do it, now that everyone's back on the same pay-per-views, even though you're feuding with only people on your respected show, it doesn't work anymore, okay? Vince is not happy with the fact that they can't get any people to buy both pay-per-views anymore because they want to see all the stars on the entire same show. So I don't think they need to do that. Yes, I would be all for a tag title for the women as long as you bring in a lot of women. You need a lot more. Otherwise, you're going to get burnt out in the heartbeat of the Riot Squad versus Sasha and Bayley every week. That's going to be ridiculous. David Banulos, which one is your favorite move from a wrestler? Let's see, that's a hard decision because there's been countless great moves by all kinds of wrestlers. I mean, one of my favorite wrestling moves of all time was the Shooting Star Press. Not the version that Brock Lesnar did at WrestleMania 18, of course. But I would say one of my favorite versions of that was the 7-year itch that Billy Kidman would do back in WCW. I thought the execution he did on that was amazing. So I gotta say that's one of my favorite moves. Dave the Ripper 098. If you could be teamed with a wrestler, who would it be? Oh, I gotta go with Kevin Owens. I mean, look at what Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and then Kevin Owens and Jericho did. I'd join up with Kevin Owens in a heartbeat. Jerry Pariso 816. Who do you think will be the next challenge for Juice Robinson for the U.S. Championship at the next New Japan Pro Wrestling show? Well, unfortunately, I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling that much, so I honestly don't know who Juice Robinson is. But whoever is a top contender, go for it. Unfortunately, again, I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling pretty much. I watch every sporadically so often. I rarely watch TNA anymore. It's pretty much all WWE and NXT right now. So, sorry, I don't have an answer for you. Jeffrey Hahn. Should WWE just drop the Universal title and bring back the old WCW/NWA heavyweight title to replace it? Yes, I think they should. The Universal title is a joke. And I don't mean that just in the sense of how they've handled the title reigns and such, with Lesnar holding onto it for a year and a half, yet rarely defends it. The ridiculous way they had Owens lose it to Goldberg just to have another squash match. You know, it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous to have two championships. Just have one single title, the WWE title. Have the Intercontinental and U.S. title if you want. Have the women have a single title. Have the women's have a tag title if you want. Keep the Cruiserweight title, but I would say make it on the main show. Put the Cruiserweight belt like WCW did. Make it part of the main show. Don't do this 205 Live anymore. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm fine with them bringing back the NWA version, the World Heavyweight title and so forth. I'm fine with that. If they have to have two belts, I think it was ridiculous to get rid of it and then just come back later and make a new championship that means nothing. If they have to have two title belts, fine, bring that one back because the Universal title is a joke. Captain Kinway asks, is Ric Flair a top 5 wrestler of all time? Woo! Yeah, indeed. Ric Flair, of course. I mean, look what he did throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, up to, when he retired from active wrestling. I mean, yeah, Ric Flair is one of the greatest of all time, hands down. Jay Pagliaro, how do you feel the wrestling business would have changed had WCW survived instead of WWF? I think it would be a lot more entertaining, and I think it would have been greater if they still were both in existence, WCW and WWE, and you'd still have some healthy competition going on. That's what's drastically hurting WWE. They don't have any competition, so why try harder than they are? That's the biggest thing that they're hurting from, is not having any competition. They bought out all their competition. But if you're asking how do I feel if WCW had survived versus WWF, I think the wrestling business in general would be completely crushed because the people running WCW didn't have a clue about what to do. And even though there was the talk that Eric Bischoff had, investors ready to go and whatnot, I can't say they had the right people hired to push the right storylines that would compel people to keep watching. I mean, look at TNA. I mean, if WWE was not around, how successful would TNA really be? Either way, I don't know. One Piece Fan 89 asks, what is the biggest mistake WWE has made in the recent years? Number one, they've had Undertaker lose the streak. They've had Undertaker job to Roman Reigns. They've had Kevin Owens job to Goldberg. They had CM Punk job to The Rock. How many more should I go on with? They had Asuka, her winning streak was just turned into a joke. I mean, there's so many to list. It's ridiculous. Steel Blondie asks, if you were part of WWE Creative, who would you have main event SummerSlam and WrestleMania 35? Well, as I'm recording this, SummerSlam's only a few days away. The main event for SummerSlam is, in my opinion, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. AJ Styles is the WWE champion. He is the top champion of the company. Brock Lesnar, yeah, he's the quote-unquote mainstream person that they push more because he went to UFC, but AJ Styles is the champion of the company. That's the main title. That's the title that's been around for over 50 plus years. And Samoa Joe is the number one contender, so that should be the main event. WrestleMania 35, what should be the main event? Whoever AJ Styles defends the title against. And I would like to see, hopefully, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania 35 in the main event spot. Kevin Haig asks, what is your favorite finisher of all time? For the longest time, one of my favorite finishers, obviously, was the Sweet Chin Music, Stone Cold Stunner. The other one I would say that was a really popular one for me was Test Big Boot. If you remember Test in the Attitude Era and then later on in the early 2000s, he started doing the Big Boot. I thought the way he could come out of nowhere with it was amazing. But also one of my favorite all-time finishing maneuvers was the Diamond Cutter by Diamond Dallas Page. And that was because he really could hit you with it at any time during the match. And they really pushed that as well, where you didn't know if you were going to get a 2-minute match or a 10-minute match or a 15-minute match out of him. because at any point it was he drops you with that, it's over. And that was how a finisher is always supposed to have been done. When you get hit with that finisher, you're out. You're lost. Okay, sorry, you got hit with that finisher, match is over. I really am not happy with how they have continuously devalued finishers nowadays by having guys kick out 3-4 times. It's ridiculous. DJ Nasty asks, how will the current WWE roster stack up in the Attitude Era? I would say as far as match quality goes, today is a lot better, because you look back at the Attitude Era and you got a lot of really awesome moments of cursing, TNA, moments with the girls and the divas and the pudding matches and whatnot. Yeah, it's more looked back as shock value, that almost like when you watch the Attitude Era stuff now, it's almost like, whoa, how did they get away with this? There's no way they could get away with it nowadays. It would be a PR nightmare if they did any of the things they did. But when you look at match quality, how many awesome matches can you really name that took place on a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or even on a pay-per-view? For the most part, most of the matches were entertaining because of the over-the-top characters and the shocking moments that they would do either during a match or before and after. Now you look back at recent years, think back just within a few years ago, CM Punk and John Cena tore the house down on a Monday Night Raw. I was at a Monday Night Raw here in Houston only 3-4 years ago, and Cesaro fought John Cena, and oh my gosh, that was an amazing matchup. It went a good 15-20 minutes at least, but I can't compare any matches from the Attitude Era that had that type of quality. Matches I look back on in the Attitude Era all involved some kind of hardcore stuff, because you don't get that anymore. That's really the way to compare it. Zach Sims, who killed Joey Ryan? I'm going to say Maggie Simpson. Michael Grayburn, if you had the ability to merge 2 different wrestling promotions together for one super show, what 2 would they be? I would take 2010 TNA and merge it with 1998 WWE. Josh's Toy Show WWE action figures. Interesting name. If you could have dinner with one WWE female, who would it be and why? That's a big toss-up. I'm a huge fan of Alexa Bliss and Asuka, so if you're asking current day, it would be one of those. But if you're talking about an active wrestler at the time, back in, let's say, the early 2000s, I would say Victoria or Trish Stratus. I'm a Ghost, by the way, asked, if you were a wrestler, what would your name be? Well, the Pop Culture Junkie. Why not? That's a great name, right? Amber the Collector, what is your favorite WrestleMania? So WrestleMania 25 is the only WrestleMania that I've ever attended live, and that would be number 1 for me because I got to be there. And not that the show was the greatest WrestleMania of all time by any means, but I did get to see some really good matches that night. John Cena versus Edge versus Big Show for the World Heavyweight title was a good one. Got to see the Hardys battle. CM Punk won the Money in the Bank for the second year. And then, of course, I got to see and witness the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. It was an incredible match. So that right there is probably, number 1. But I would say the number 1 WrestleMania of all time still is WrestleMania 17. It took place again here in Houston. I was unable to attend because at the time I was out of work, had no money, and couldn't afford to go to the show. I did get to go to FanFest where I got to meet Raven. But yeah, unfortunately I didn't get to go to that show, and I regret it to this day that I didn't go. I wish I had found some way to, by hook or by crook, to have gone seen the show live. But yeah, still to me, WrestleMania 17, greatest WrestleMania of all time, and really, happy that I can say it took place here in Houston. Elite Prophet asks, which wrestler do you feel had their wrestling career have the biggest decline when they switched to a different wrestling promotion? That's a very interesting question to bring up because there's been a lot of that throughout the years, and nowadays we don't really have that much as far as mainstream wrestling companies. We've got, of course, New Japan, TNA, Ring of Honor, and so forth, and SoCal Pro, and Guerrilla Pro Wrestling, and so forth. But then, of course, WWE is the top promotion. Go back 20 years ago, we had ECW, WCW, and WWF. So at one point, they were all top promotions. And I could see, in my opinion, Taz comes to mind first because he was super over in ECW. And it just seemed like they didn't know what to do with him once they got him to WWF, even though when he debuted at Rumble 2000 against Angle, he was super over. but they didn't know what to do with them. They didn't know what to kind of storylines to give them or anything like that. Another one that comes to mind, of course, would be Bret the Hitman Hart. I always compare it to what happened to Bret the Hitman Hart leaving WWF in '97 to go to WCW, where Shawn Michaels has said on interviews that at some point during the '90s, multiple times, he was offered contracts, supposedly, to go to WCW. And he's gone on record saying that, Vince McMahon has told me, hey, if you go there, they're not going to know what to do with you. And it was right there. We saw how they used Bret Hart. They didn't know what to do with him. Not effectively. He was never the draw that he was in WWF. He was never given anything serious to do to get him over. And they just didn't know what to do with him. So, those are the first two that come to mind for me would be Taz and Bret Hart. Taz coming to WWF from ECW, and then Bret Hart going from WWF to WCW. John Bailey asked, what was your favorite era of wrestling and what was your favorite promotion? Well, I've been a WWF fan for over 30 years. I've been watching WWF since 1985, WrestleMania 1, and that's been my main promotion. I've watched other ones growing up. Got into WCW around 1990. Got into ECW late because I didn't have access to any shows or pay-per-views yet. I didn't start watching any ECW stuff till probably about 99, maybe 2000. That's when I first started getting some shows or videos to be able to watch. So favorite promotion's always been WWF. And then your other question was, what was your favorite era of wrestling? Probably my favorite era, everyone's going to always assume, Attitude Era, right? Well, Attitude Era was awesome. I liked it. I had fun with it. It was, it did what it needed to do during that time with all the surprise moments and shock and everything. But probably my favorite era was when I really started getting into wrestling at a young age, which was, I started watching in '85 sporadically between '85 and '90. But by '90, I really got into wrestling. And at that time, you still had Hogan and Warrior and Savage. You had the Rockers and the Hart Foundation still going strong. And then a year later, they break up the Hart Foundation, they break up the Rockers. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart start going into their singles runs. You had Ric Flair coming in. Just all kinds of talent at that time was happening. So that was probably my favorite era with the best memories. Chito Gonzalez asked, Joey Ryan, yay or nay? I only saw a little bit of Joey Ryan when he was in TNA, and I thought he was okay, but I know he's been doing a lot of stuff on the indie stuff, and he's had some strange matches with women and the grabbing his crotch maneuver or something like that. I don't know. To me, I don't think it would get over at all. Well, he couldn't do the same character, I don't think, if he ever gets put on the main WWE show and all like that. But it's a good gimmick for indie, but I don't think it's going to be a mainstream kind of person. No. Benjamin Marin asked, do you think Kenny Omega will ever come to WWE? I would like to see him because I think he's got a lot of talent, so I'd definitely like to see him make a run, especially now that he's gotten so over in New Japan, so I think so. Funko Steve, if you could have dinner with one professional wrestler, dead or alive, who would it be and why? Well, honestly, dead or alive, I'd have to go with somebody that sadly passed away before I ever got to see them perform. I always wish I had gotten to see them wrestle, and that would be Andre the Giant. I'd love to have met him, and the stories we might be able to hear from him would be amazing. You obviously collect a lot of wrestling memorabilia, as do I, but if you could only collect one type of memorabilia, what would it be? I.e. pops, figures, programs, cards, autographs. I have no idea how I'd ever answer this, as I collect so much and all of it all. Thanks for hosting this giveaway. Well, you're welcome for hosting the giveaway, and thank you for your question. So if I can only collect one thing, it's actually one of the things you listed, and that would be the programs. My very first wrestling show I went to was here in Houston at the Summit, which sadly does not exist anymore. It's now become a church. But I went to the Summit back in early 1991. I think it was around February, March, and it was headlined with Undertaker versus The Ultimate Warrior. Great show. Got to see lots of stars. But when you would buy your programs at the arenas, back then at least, you open up the program and there was a sheet of paper in there and it had the list of all the matches that you were going to get to see that night, possibly. There might be a card subject to change, depending on if somebody didn't show up or had an issue, whatever. But I always liked how you had a list of matches there, and I would bring a pen with me, and silly me, just like a lot of people did probably, I'd watch the matches, and as the matches ended, I'd circle who won and write down, okay, so-and-so won by DQ, pinfall, submission, whatever. And it was a way for me to look back later on and be like, oh, look, so-and-so beat so-and-so. And next time I see them on TV, I can be like, oh, look, he won tonight. But last time when I saw them, they did this or whatever. It was just fun. And I got a lot of those over the years. I don't know how many I actually still have nowadays, though. I've only come across 2 of them so far that I did keep. And one is I did buy a program to the WrestleMania 17, but I didn't go to the show. I bought the program at FanFest the day before it, and it did have the sheet, so I still have that. And then I went to another house show at the Summit again in 2002, and it was headlined with Brock Lesnar, who had just debuted. He was brand spanking new. It was Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. No, it was Brock Lesnar and The Big Show versus Booker T and The Undertaker. Because they were doing a gimmick of how Undertaker and Booker T are both from Texas. So they were the tag team. They were going against Big Show and Brock Lesnar. And I have that program card as well with the matches and such. So if I could collect anything, it would be those. I would love to have those from all kinds of different shows because, you only saw, like 4 pay-per-views a year back in the day. And so to see some of these house shows where you'd see matchups you never would imagine happened. You only saw at, whatever matches happened at WrestleMania, 4, 5, 8, whatever. But then in between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, there would be all these house shows, and you see all these matchups that you're like, what? I could have seen Jake Roberts versus Shawn Michaels. I mean, who saw that, right? So all kinds of cool things could have been, seen from those programs. Amanda Arndt, if you could hang out with any wrestler, who would it be? Ooh. If I could hang out with any wrestler, it'd be Chris Jericho. I think it'd be a blast. Fridge Ninja asks, if you could have a match of an old school wrestler and a new school wrestler, who would it be and why? I want to see Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens. And I think it speaks for itself. I think the two of them would tear the house down for the first 10 minutes just on promos. And then they'd have an amazing matchup. I want Stone Cold Steve Austin in his prime prior to getting injured by Owen, so early 97 versus Kevin Owens now. I think that would just be incredible. Venom Fang says, dopeness bro, sick video, awesome giveaway. Well, thank you very much. Do you think CM Punk will ever come back? Yes, I do actually. I mean, never say never. Vince McMahon says that all the time. Writers, producers, people that have worked around him in his inner circle, they've been shocked at the way Vince will forgive and forget and be like, well, can we make money? Let's do it, pal. Whatever. And look at, Jeff Jarrett just went into the Hall of Fame recently. Ultimate Warrior went into the Hall of Fame. Bret Hitman Hart's in the Hall of Fame. These guys have legend contracts. These guys had horrible breakups with Vince. Okay, Ultimate Warrior and Jarrett both held up Vince for more money to do a final match and then got fired, or they refused to show up for shows like Ultimate Warrior did. There's been countless wrestlers that have done things that you would think, oh, that's going to get you blacklisted, but they come back. So I think if there's money to be made, then Vince is going to be like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. NES Evolution asks, why do some wrestling fans think this is the greatest time in wrestling? Good luck to all. Well, I think the reason it speaks back to what I mentioned earlier in another question is you compare the matches to prior years. You're getting amazing matches every week on Raw and SmackDown. You're getting at least one really good match. If you go back and look 15 years ago, okay, I know NES Evolution, you love the Attitude Era. I know that. You cheer for it all the time on Twitter. Well, Attitude Era, again, it was great for the shock, for the surprise appearances, you had people crossing back and forth between WCW, ECW, WWE all the time. You had the hot women, you had the cursing and the beer drinking from Stone Cold, whatnot. And you had amazing promos, yes, from like The Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold, Mankind, so many others. But how many great matches can you list from the Attitude Era? Really? Like, I can't name more than 5 or 6 without including hardcore matches, giant, brawls and battles like that. I can't name any, like, okay, these two had a match that tore the house down, didn't require any of this stuff, any extra gimmicks, nothing like that. Look at Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25, tore the house down at the Reliance Center here in Houston when I saw it. Rewind to 1997, like 20 years before that, and they tore the house down at Hell in a Cell. But the Hell in a Cell was also a very key player there. You also had Kane interfering and making his debut and so forth. So that's what I'm saying. Matches today are about the matches. They're not about the shock or the crazy, moments that happen that, make it a good match. You can have a good match just with two guys in the ring. So that's the big difference about today. Jeff Powell says, "You are awesome." Well, thank you. You too, man. How many WrestleManias have you been to? Only one so far. I wanted to go to WrestleMania 17 so bad. And unfortunately at the time I was out of work. And whenever the show released their tickets, I had just lost my job, and so I had no money to go to the show. I just barely scratched together enough to go to FanFest, and I did get to go to FanFest, and stood in line forever. I stood in line for about 3 hours to get autographs, and unfortunately they did this stupid thing of musical chairs with the people that were there to do appearances. So I'm standing in line, and at one point there is Mick Foley at the table, and I'm probably, I still have a 2-hour wait ahead of me. About half hour goes by, Triple H and China go sit down. I'm like, okay, I'll get to meet them. Excellent. About a half hour or so later, the Hardy Boys trade places and they sit there. I'm like, all right, the Hardy Boys, okay, cool. By the time I get to the very front, Raven is there. Not to knock Raven. He's cool. He was nice. He gave me an autograph. I got to take a picture with him. But I went from Mick Foley to Triple H and China to the Hardy Boys to Raven. It was ridiculous. But that's the only WrestleMania I've been to. I have been fortunate to attend the Royal Rumble. My wife and I went to that in 2017. We also went to Survivor Series because Rumble was at San Antonio, and the Survivor Series last year was here in Houston. And then I've been to some other ones, like went to Bad Blood 2003. By the way, if you ever watched Bad Blood 2003, you can see me sitting in front of the camera, the hard camera, the entire show, watching the show. It's crazy. It's funny, whenever I've watched that pay-per-view back, I'm like, I just see myself and my friends sitting there staring at the camera. But yeah, I've been able to go to some shows. I went to Night of Champions here in Houston, actually, in 2007, when they had the Vengeance pay-per-view, which sadly was the night of the weekend of the Chris Benoit tragedy. I've been fortunate to attend a few pay-per-views, lots of house shows, and some Raws and SmackDowns and so forth. And I was actually at SmackDown 9/11, the 9/11 SmackDown that took place 2 days after the attack on September 11th. That was a very emotional night. Super Mutant 2009 says, "What is your favorite wrestling promotion?" Well, favorite wrestling promotion, WWF. Raymond Patak says, "What current and what legend would you like to see in a match that have never been in the ring together?" Bonus a question. Okay, well, there's two questions. So, what current and what legend would you like to see in a match that have never been in the ring together? Well, I said it just a second ago. Stone Cold and Kevin Owens. They've never been in a match together. I'd like to see that. Other option would be Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. That's my other two. Yeah. Bonus question. NWO black and white or NWO red and black? Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. I got to go with red and black. I liked NWO both ways, but when the Wolfpack started up and you had Sting coming out with that red paint, Luger and Conan, I just love that. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash being part of that too. I mean, that was just, the Wolfpack was amazing. Loved it. Bryce Hall asked, if HBK did wrestle one last match, who would you want it to be against? A lot of people think it would be AJ Styles. That would be a great match. I think it would be as well. But I would like to see Daniel Bryan versus Shawn Michaels. I want to see a student versus teacher match. TN Couponer, here's my question. What is your favorite match and memory of Vader? Hope you and your family had a happy Independence Day. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Favorite match for Vader? One of my favorite ones would be Shawn Michaels and Vader at SummerSlam 96. And it's even more memorable now from hearing all the different interviews and podcasts that people have talked about that match, on how they had their little argument during the match. They kept having to restart it for different reasons. They didn't want to end it in a certain way. There's a lot of rumors have always been saying how Shawn Michaels refused to put over Vader, and he kind of hurt his run during WWF and such. But another one would be against Ron Simmons. Vader was the WCW champion, and I think Lex Luger was supposed to fight for the title, if I'm right, for whatever reason. But they replaced Ron Simmons as the challenger, and Ron Simmons defeated Vader to become the first African-American WCW champion. I thought that was a great match as well. Kelly Ware asks, my question is, what is your dream match right now? This can include any wrestlers from any company in any type of match. Wow. The possibilities are endless. So if I could have any match right now with someone that's currently on the roster, and it'd be any type of match, I would want a WWE title match, 3 stages of hell. First fall is a tables match, second fall is a steel cage match, third fall is a ladder match, and it would be Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. Alright, so thank you so much out there, everyone, for the questions. I really appreciate you participating. Hope everyone enjoyed the Q&A part there, and I hope you enjoyed the answers I had for your questions. Now, I've got everyone's name written down on different sheets of paper there, so you can see all the different people that participated. Okay, hopefully you can read the names from here, but yeah, got all the names here. There were a bunch of y'all, too, so thank you so much for everyone that sent in their questions to be a part of this. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to have to stop the video for a second because I'm going to fold these up so I can't peek. And then when I come back, we're going to do the raffle. And welcome back. All right, that took a little bit of time to fold up, but as you can see here, got everyone's names folded up inside here. All right, so we're going to shake this up. Close it up, shake this up. And we'll do the raffle here. Let's see. I'm not even going to, okay, I can't even see the inside of this, so I'm just going to reach in here, shuffle it around a little bit more. And, alright, I have one here. Okay. And our winner is, drum roll please, Raymond Patak. You are the winner. You have won the Young Bucks Funko 2-pack. There you go, man. You are the winner. Congratulations. You are the winner of the Q&A giveaway. Excellent. Well, hey, I'm going to leave a comment on your initial question that you posted, letting you know you won, and then just get in touch with me. You can email me, and my email again is in the description of every video. So email me, and that way I can get your address of where you want me to ship it to, and I'll have it shipped out within a couple days or so. So there you go. Hey, everyone, thanks again for participating. I appreciate everyone's support, that everyone's been supporting me on the channel here for everything I do. And stay tuned because, again, I'll be having more contests and giveaways very soon, announcing a very new and brand new October one, if you're familiar with the October contest we do every year, so keep that in mind. But, hey, congratulations to Raymond. Everyone give him congrats. You know, leave some comments below and congratulate Raymond for being the winner. And, again, thank you so much, everybody out there, for all your support, for joining in on all the different unboxings, on the reviews, on the wrestling talk that we do here. Everything. I really appreciate all the support that you guys have shown me, and this is just a sample of how I try to find some way to repay all of you for the support. And I try to do these contests, giveaways. If you ever have a contest idea of any kind that you want to share with me that you think it might be a fun twist, because I'm always looking for new ways to do giveaways and contests and more participation and interaction with you guys. So, if you want to keep doing these Q&A ones, I'm up for it. It can be any kind of theme from now on. This one, we did a wrestling theme. Next time, who knows, we can pick something else. But if you have other contest ideas, share them with me and leave me comments or email me or message me on Twitter. You know how to reach me. So thanks again, everyone, as always, for watching and being a part of this. And I will see you guys next time, and take care. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Thanks again for playing. I'll see you next time. This is PCJ, signing out.